This is VOA News. I'm Tommy McNeil. Venezuela's worst power and communications outage on Friday deepened a sense of isolation and decay, endangering hospital patients, forcing schools and businesses to close and cutting people off from their families, friends, and the outside world. While electricity returned to some parts of Caracas nearly 24 hours after lights, phones, and the internet stopped working, several other populous cities remained in the dark as the evening approached. The blackout marked another harsh blow to a country paralyzed by turmoil as the power struggle between Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and opposition leader Juan Guaido stretches into its second month and economic hardship grows. U.S. President Donald Trump says he will not sign a trade deal with China unless it's a very good deal. Mr. Trump made the comments as he left the White House to tour tornado-ravaged in Alabama. The White House is planning a summit between Mr. Trump and Chinese leader Xi Jinping in Florida later this year. The trade dispute between the United States and China has begun to affect China's economic growth. U.S. President Trump is claiming vindication in the sentencing of his former campaign chairman, Paul Manafort, after a U.S. federal judge ruled Manafort should serve 47 months in prison.
The president says Judge T.S. Ellis III exonerated him.
The judge said there was no collusion with Russia.
What Ellis actually said was the Manafort case before him had nothing to do with collusion. It was about tax and bank fraud. The president also claimed Manafort's lawyer said there was no collusion.
His lawyer went out of his way, actually.
But Keith Downing wasn't talking about the president. He was talking about his own client.
There is absolutely no evidence that Paul Manafort was involved with any collusion.
Neither the judge nor the lawyer cleared or implicated the president. Sagar Magani, Washington.
And this is VOA News. U.S. President Trump said that he would be very disappointed if North Korea is resuming nuclear testing after his recent meeting with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. Mr. Trump made the comments to reporters Friday. North Korean state media said for the first time Friday that the summit made no advances and its people were blaming the U.S. for the lack of an agreement. Mr. Trump and Kim met last week in Vietnam in a summit meant to reach an agreement on North Korean denuclearization. But the meeting broke down over an impasse over how many sites North Korea would shut down. Marches and protests were held Friday across the globe to mark International Women's Day under the slogan Balanced for Better, with calls for a more gender-balanced world. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres told a commemoration at the UN headquarters in New York that remarkable progress on women's rights and leadership in recent decades has sparked a backlash.
We can only reestablish trust and rebuild global solidarity by challenging historic injustices and promoting the rights and dignity of all. We can only achieve sustainable development and peace by drawing on all our assets and capacities.
Millions of others around the world demanded equality amid the persistent salary gap, violence, and widespread inequality. The day, sponsored by the United Nations since 1975, celebrates women's achievements and aims to further their rights. A week after U.S.-backed forces announced the start of their final assault on Islamic State territory in Syria, there is little hope that the troops of the country's backing that can be sure a victory over the last remnant of the terror group's self-declared caliphate, still seen as inevitable, has been delayed as a wave of humanity fled the ever-shrinking patch of land IS calls its own. Members of the U.S. women's national soccer team have filed a discrimination lawsuit seeking pay that is now equal to their male counterparts. AP correspondent Jackie Quinn.
The 28 members of the current women's player pool filed a civil rights action in Los Angeles federal court, alleging institutionalized gender discrimination by the U.S. Soccer Federation. They say they make about 38% of what their male counterparts are paid. It's 3 months before the women defend their World Cup title, and they filed the lawsuit on International Women's Day, seeking damages and back pay. Forward Kristen Press says the players are role models, and they feel it's their duty to fight for what they legally deserve, hoping it inspires women everywhere. I'm Jackie Quinn.
Find more at voanews.com. I'm Tommy McNeil, VOA News.